1939, and the German army invaded Poland. In less than a year, it brutally forced its way through from Poland to Denmark, Norway, Holland, and Belgium. In May 1940, Hitler struck at France. In northern France at that time, British Hurricane squadrons were reinforcing the French airfields. Now, as the German invader came blitzkrieging its way nearer, they were under constant attack.
Come on, idiot! Get that bugger out of here! We're going where we've got!
In less than 2 weeks over in France, we had lost 250 vital Hurricane aircraft. Air Chief Marshal Sir Hugh Dowding, Chief of Britain's Air Defences, now wrote a letter to the newly appointed Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, which was to decide Britain's course of action.
I must therefore request that not one more fighter be sent across the Channel. If the home defense is drained away in desperate attempts to remedy the situation in France, defeat in France will involve the final, complete, and irremediable defeat of this country.
Churchill's every instinct was to fight on for his old friend, France, but he realized the bitter sense of Dowding's words. No more aircraft were sent to France. 2 weeks later, the Germans forced the British army off the beaches at Dunkirk. Britain stood alone, completely surrounded, but determined to resist.
What General Weygand has called the Battle of France is over. The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
Days of tremendous pressure. I mean, we flew sometimes 5 times a day, and we were never in our beds after 4:30. We had to be able to disperse with the first daylight. You grabbed a cup of tea before you went down, and then, depending on when ops put on the show, as to when you got back, whether and when for a meal, for breakfast or lunch, we flew as a squadron in a tight formation, 3 fixed to 4. Now, I think the fact of being in tight formation gave us a false sense of security. New chums were called Arsene Charlies, and we flew at the back of the squadron, weaving backwards and forwards to make sure the squadron wasn't attacked from anything from behind. So Arsene Charlie used much more petrol. He was the most inexperienced bloke and the least likely to see Germans coming in. We were heavily outnumbered, at least 3 to 1, sometimes 10 to 1.
Wow.
And the Germans always had the advantage of height. You know, they were gaining height from the time they left France. They were picked up coming in over the coast. We were rushed off, struggling for height. And so they were always above us.
They said in the film Battle of Britain, beware the Hun in the sun.
Yes, absolutely right.
Was that a phrase they ever said?
Yes, yes. I had an X-ray some time ago, and I'm full of shrapnel in my left buttock. And a little girl taking the photographs, so she said, just wait on here while I check this. Then she came back and she said, it's full of little spots. I said, yes, that's shrapnel. She said, were you running away? I said, Not actually, it was the Hun in the sun. Well, I might just as well have been talking Chinese.
Yes.
Do you know which plane shot you down?
109, first time, and at 190 the second time.
Right. And you managed to parachute out?
Well, the first time we were fighting mostly over Britain, and I was 20,000 feet, 20mm cannon shell came down from behind through my hip, came out just below my leg. I managed to land at disused aerodrome, and I can remember it extremely well. Coming in for a normal approach and landing, I turned the petrol off, which had caught fire. Then I couldn't put it on the ground. I couldn't push the stick forward, it wouldn't go down. And so I thought, well, hell, I'll have to go round again. I turned the petrol on, the motor picked up, and I went round a long way back and came in very, very low. Just hopped over the fence and cut the motor and sank down. And then I had no brakes. I was wheeling across the aerodrome at 100 miles an hour, thinking I'd probably finish up in some trees somewhere. And there was an army anti-aircraft thing, I suppose, 3 blokes in a sandbagged hole. And one wheel hit the sandbag. The blokes had jumped out in the meantime, and that brought me to a halt. And I remember saying to one of these chaps, I think my leg is broken, give me a hand to get me out, which he did. And then I said, I'm sure my leg's broken, cut my flying boot off. And the last thing I remember him saying to one of his mates, it looks a lovely new boot, which it was, it's a pity to cut it. And then I remember trying to eat grass, and that's the last I remember, but there was a stray Air Force doctor floating around, who I'm told was drunk, filled me up with morphia. And you know, morphia's great stuff. Straight away the pain had gone, and I felt like $1 million. And then he said, when you get to hospital, tell them I've given you a double dose of morphia. You're not to have any more. Well, I went to a civilian hospital, Maidstone Hall. First thing they did was fill me up with morphia. That's the last I remember of that.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Just looking through my great uncle's logbook, I was suggesting that maybe you were there at the same time, and looking through this, so patrol with 66 and 92 Squadron on the 23rd of September.
That's the day I was shot down.
Really? Really?
Yeah, done.
Oh, thank you.
I'll show you a picture of my great uncle soon. See if you recognise him, because you were.
Where's that entry?
It's just here.
Oh, all right. 23rd September. Oh, it's quite a lot on the 23rd. 3 entries. Oh.
Patrol with 66 and 92.
Yeah. Very valuable book to have.
Yeah, it's just so fascinating as well. It's just really fascinating as well.
Yes.
That's my great uncle and his fiancée Molly.
All right.
Do you recognise him? You did fly with him the day you were shot down.
No, I don't. No. Oh. Well, this is very interesting. Oh.
As I say, my 2 father-in-laws, both of them, they're very good friends, and they see the bloody thing come down.
They actually saw it?
It's a stroke. My father-in-law's still alive, I'll take you to him, he'll tell you about it.
He actually saw.
He's seen the plane come down. There's a laneway there, look, where them 2 signs are.
Yeah.
See where that, there's a laneway goes up in there. They were coming down there when that plane come out of there, look, and bang into here.
God.
We're gypsies. And that's been a gypsy camp for over 100 years, this camp. So that's why I say we were here in the war. But during the wartime, because the military was using this road, obviously I wasn't born. But my people all moved up that lane there with their wagons. Right. And that's why my father-in-law, and he was only 12-year-old at the time, mind you, and my other father-in-law, which is a very funny thing, that both men see that plane come down.